Hey there, randos. Random Dave here, doing a voiceover, logging into Quant Tower, and I did a trade last night, the PM session, and made $10 scalp, less $1.40. You can see it's 10:31 on the 22nd Friday. So, loading up my charts and getting a look-see on how things are shaping out. Definitely a late start due to trying to catch up on some rest, not feeling well, and seeing like, oh my goodness, big sell off. Let's just sell the candle. And of course, it was a hasty entry. So I'm like, where do I put my stop loss? Do I just keep it as the 2 points? Put it above the candle. I wasn't really sure where to place it. So just dropped it in there. Profit target was just some random spot. Definitely a pretty strong sell-off occurring, so I figured, hey, it's got some legs down. And of course, my mouse goes right over to the flatten button to try and cut any pain that may be occurring. And yeah, just I refrained. I have to tell you, I refrained from doing that. I see some weakness. I'm like, oh, maybe I just got to take my lumps here and find the right point to put my stop loss for 2 points back, and you can see that candle's buying back up, and I'm like, you know what, screw that. I know the sell-off is good and we'll be okay. Of course, I didn't know that, but at the time I was like firm in my conviction that there was a legit sell-off continuing based on what we had seen. It's kind of follow the trend. I don't think we have a reversal coming in. I wasn't even paying attention to the left side of the chart where you can see there's some support there, pretty much where we're close to bumping into that support. And again, putting my mouse real close to the flatten area. Um, Truth be told, last night I read and almost completed, I finished it this morning, a book called The Best Loser Wins, and that really influenced my trade today. And so, yeah, he's got a YouTube channel. I think is Trader Tom Hogaard, Hougaard. He's Danish day trader. Best loser wins. Why normal thinking never. Yeah, best loser wins. Why normal thinking never wins the trading game. Sorry, I had to look up the full title online, but best loser wins. You'll find it. So anyway, back to what I have here. Now I'm looking at a potential target for profit as things start running against me. But I didn't feel too terribly stressed about it. I was certainly worried. Certainly could feel the fear level building up, thinking, here we go again. Watching it pull against me. But again, I was just looking at this as, big sell off. This is just one green candle forming right now. And as soon as I really started to feel some peak sense of pain, I could see some signs of a sell off coming. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to hold the line What have I got to lose? Hopefully losing some fear. And so that's kind of the gist of that book, was really coming to terms with what that fear means and where it comes from and why we make the decisions that we make. So unfortunately, for this particular trade, as you'll see, I was able to just handle the fear of the pullback, but I wasn't able to fully handle the fear of being in such a profit and worried about giving that profit back. So that's what ends up being the gist of this trade here. So I'm just going to pause that for a moment and then continue. So yeah, seeing that green candle forming, things happen pretty fast in the next minute here, so I just figured I would just let it run as we watch through it. But that pullback is pretty much done, and we'll start to see some real action happening as I start to believe in this trade. And seeing on I had it set for 200 ticks. All right, toolkit. Had it set up for 200 ticks instead of 500, which, as I was watching that 200 tick, boy, that really, you felt the energy of the move on such a small tick number per candle. So you could see a blip, blip, blip. It's like really pushing down, and you're like, okay, man, we're filling these candles 200 ticks at a time. You see that just shoot down. I go to a little bit over break even, starts to pull back against me a little bit, and starts marching down again, then up, and I'm looking at my situation where, oh boy, pulled back against me. I was trying really my darndest to not panic and thinking, when do I add? When do I add? When do I add to this? Where's my add point? Is it, that pullback? If it gets pulled back up there, do I add? I end up moving my stop loss, and I just couldn't handle it on the next set of pullbacks. I thought it was done, so I just called it good for 4 points and a couple of ticks. So it ended up being a 1-to-1 approximately ratio on that trade. And then it starts pulling back against me, and I'm thinking, hey, this is great. What a good job getting out at the bottom. Hey, 42, 50 plus the 10 from the night before, and look at it pull back up. What I find out later is if I just left my stop loss at the original spot, this pullback would have pulled back certainly past my original entry point. However, it wouldn't have pulled back as far as, the heat that I took previously. And of course, we watch it hit the EMA up there on the 200 and start to drop down some more. And, even if I just left my stop at break even plus a couple of ticks, I could have ridden this thing back down for at least 2 more points. So that would have been another 50% profit on the trade. And so here I'm like, okay, I'm going to add a note to discussing this trade with, under the new thinking, the new mindset that I have on how I'm going to try to approach the trades. Good enough for today. You can see I still have a lot of work to do mentally. Didn't add. And yeah, I cut out too early, I think. Yeah, I think you're right, Dave. Yeah, you could see it, pulling back, up, 2 legs back, and then second entry short, probably forms in there at some point, and then it would have come back down. So yeah, it definitely comes back down. But I felt good enough considering my how far I've fallen and how I got to build myself up and dig myself out. But looking at this chart here, you know, it's definitely fallen through any earlier support areas, and that should have been a good enough sign to keep the faith on this trade. Like I said, I could have dug another 50% more out, and really by the end of the day, looking at it, there was the potential to get another 10 points. 10 points, so I could have had a 14 pointer out of this if I was patient enough. So, I'm trying not to beat myself up over that, but it's more of for information like, hey, don't panic. Be patient. Let the money come to you until it's not coming anymore. And even though there was that pullback, I got out just before it, that's nice. But really, what that could have been a sign of is that's where to add in, somewhere back there. So you can see me, I'm marking up my charts like, where did I get in here? I forgot. Somewhere around here, big pullback. This would have been a case of if I added to the loser, it would have paid off. But I think if I added to the loser, I would have gotten out much sooner and wouldn't have ridden this leg down as much. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm, taking my trading now today, and moving forward with it is to try and ride out these trends. Scalping, I feel like I'm pretty good with the scalping, but I haven't addressed some of the mental things because clearly my winners are like 3-1 or 4-1 over my losers. But when I lose 200, 400, $600 on a trade, there's, and I'm only winning 10 or 20, 10 or 15, really less than 15, between 10 and $15 on a trade. That's quite poor. That's quite poor. And that's what I need to get out of that mindset. So that's why I'm really not that terribly happy with this trade here, because it did go against me more than I should have allowed it. And for unknown reasons, I believed that I was correct in shorting, which is also foolishness. I just jumped in. So, yeah, here's me taking a screenshot and, yeah, gonna do some editing on my screenshot there so I can enter it into a log, which I'm gonna be doing in PowerPoint. So that pretty much wraps up this trade for today. Here we have it. And yeah, we can see our totals were up 52.50 on the day and a 17.75% win rate, or a 17.75% profit. So we'll take that and put it in the books. Anyhow, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. As you can see me here doing my preparations for PowerPoint log of my trading. All right, folks, have a good weekend. Random Dave is out of here.